I just do two, one putt, par four, birdie, woohoo. New driver, info, replace, M2, par 5, fairway, what you fin do? Think I'll try to get on into, start right, good line, good view, it drew.
It's like 1:30 in the morning, and we're headed 550 miles approximately to the Pine Barrens.
Shooter McGavin, 2 thumbs that's up high and 2 fingers pointed at you. Pew pew, fairway to green, conk off that I'm playing. Sometimes these par 3 green look like an island.
Thanks, Kyle. We're looking at episode 200 and I think we're going to be 19 or 20 here. So thanks for joining us. We're with Kyle Gordon, Director of Instruction at Golftown.
Yeah.
So we're in the Woodbridge Studio X location. So can you kind of give us just like an intro, Kyle, who you are and how we, ultimately ended up here at Golftown?
Yeah, it's been a bit of an interesting journey in golf, kind of one of those ones where, I've had a few people along the pathway sort of tell you kind of that, like, are you really sure that you want to be, in golf? And golf's just always been something that kind of called my name and was something that really worked well for me.
Keep going, you're good there.
And it just made me feel comfortable, right?
Yeah.
It was always a safe space and somewhere that I wanted to be. So I had an uncle growing up that was like in the golf program.
Okay.
And I really transitioned out of playing hockey, normal Canadian kid.
Yeah, we've heard that a few times on this pod. Yeah,
right. Grew up playing hockey, and I grew up in Brampton, so I played, basically AAA, AA, all the way up through high school. And then started getting banged around a little bit.
Yeah.
A few concussions, a few injuries. Same story, probably heard a few times. And then really just took into golf at the end of high school. So my uncle in the golf industry and in the PGM program just introduced me to that. And I saw that as a possible opportunity or career to get into.
So that was kind of the idea when you got into high school. You just thought, like, were you playing a lot then? Were you playing before high school much?
I really only started playing CJGA events in like grade 9.
Okay. All right.
Transitioned straight out of playing like competitive travel hockey into playing junior events and, posted some radio stations in my junior golf career, but, would get out there and shoot 100 and come back and shoot 90 and then come back and just really started, lit the fire for me in golf. But I never really played like high-end, like collegiate golf. Just sort of got into the competitive game and then started taking it really serious in the end of high school.
I always thought about, I always think about high school golf. I love high school golf. Like, it's one of my most, like, fond memories. I took a couple injuries, like bad shoulder injuries shortly after that. I've talked about it on the pod, but, like, I can think of, like, playing in, like, Lhasa and stuff and shooting, like, a 73 and being, like, right in it and then shooting a 91 the next day. And you're out of it. So, high school golf's a lot of fun. It's a blast, but it's nice to be able to kind of take that into the PGM program. Is that what you took post-secondary?
Exactly, yeah. So moved from high school, had my sights set on Georgian. So I went to Georgian College after high school and did the 3-year diploma program there and really stuck around green grass golf for a little bit. So spent some time working at golf courses. So I worked up at Ridge at Manitou in Parry Sound. I worked at Tangle Creek in Barrie. Kind of bounced around a little bit in that field, and started to really make sense of like what my long-term, like what does your life look like? Right. So when you're done golf season, then you start looking into like what you're going to do for the off season, right? And that's a grind.
Yeah.
Right. Golf pros trying to figure out, okay, do I pick up a second job or do I go on EI or what does that really look like? And that really wasn't what I wanted to do. And that led me to, so after PGM program, after the co-ops in Greengrass, I found a role at Golftown actually. And so started working at Golftown and then worked under a PGA member. And so got in through the PGA program where you get written into the PGA from a Class A member to say, hey, Kyle wants to attempt his PGA of Canada status. And took a few cracks at getting it done, but got it done, and so started at Golftown as an hourly associate, basically a couple of years after college.
Now, so that was like the entry level role. You were kind of working in retail at that point.
Yeah, so I worked at Golftown Store 2, which would have opened in 1999, one of the original store, and started as a regular golf hard lines associate at Golftown, working my 40, 50 hours a week and playing as much golf as I could.
we're in the Woodbridge location here. So we're in the Studio X fitting studio. So the Quintec, like you got the Quintec putting green on the other side. So we'll roll a couple B-roll, a little bit of B-roll, so we can have a look at that. But what ultimately brought you to Woodbridge here, Studio X specifically?
Yeah, so I worked for Golftown, as I said, as a regular sales associate, but then worked my way through the ranks. So I spent about 6 years working my way through being a department manager up into being an assistant manager at a store.
Okay.
At the old Brampton store, which I spent some time there. And then a role came up. What really brings me here is a role came up outside of Golftown where I was introduced to Golf Tech. So Golf Tech came to Canada and really started opening up locations. And I just fell into a role there with instruction and club fitting that really fit.
Okay.
I didn't really have a ton of instruction experience when I started there in my early 20s, but they do a heck of a job from a training perspective, an education perspective, to really help people play better golf. So I hung my hat there for 7 years and conducted over 7,000 golf lessons. So was really deep in the instruction game and helping people play year-long coaching. And in that role, I found my passion for fitting. That was where it sort of really grew into something that was, hey, I think I'm pretty good at this.
Yeah.
And it really, it showed through what happened out of the Golf Tech thing. So that's really what brings me here, because I full circle came back into this role with an opportunity to head up training and custom fitting for the company here at Golf Tech.
Yeah, and Golf Tech is something where there is a Golf Tech setup here in Woodbridge, and we saw Pat doing 2,500 lessons a year or something like that. So
yeah.
It was kind of nice to meet him as we were getting set up. But when you bring it over to the Studio X, so what is the function here? So you're looking, if you're watching us over on YouTube, or if you're listening to us in the car on Spotify, Apple, whatever it is, I'd encourage you to go check it out on YouTube, because we got the whole matrix here behind us, and I'd care to guess there's got to be like 400 or so shafts, maybe even more behind us. I don't know.
There's more.
Yeah. So can you kind of give us an idea of like what Studio X is, what the experience is like, how it got started for Golftown, and then what it might be like for somebody who's looking to come in and do a fitting essentially? Yeah.
So really my role with Golftown getting started was to take custom fitting from what it was back in 2019 to make a program, create some training for people, and then establish a stock standard for what custom fitting looks like at a Golftown. And then it really started to flourish. So I started conducting what we call our master fitter training.
Okay.
And so our sales associates at the stores, to take their career to the next level, have to be a master club fitter. You've got to go through a certain amount of tests and do a practical examination to make sure that you're checking the boxes for what happens in a standard Golftown fitting. So our custom fitting business really blew up after that program started. So that's me going coast to coast, training and traveling, setting up in BC and bringing all the BC stores to one store and doing training. Go to Calgary, go to Quebec.
When did you start that, Kyle?
So I started here at 2019, and then in 2021 is really when that program rolled out.
Okay.
So, with what happened in 2020, I really got to spend some time and develop the program, and created an online place for people to go and learn, and then rolled out an in-person practical when it was safe to do so.
Okay.
So Studio X really was born from our custom business is doing really well. How can it be better? And then we've seen some of our competitors in the retail space, and even in sort of the boutique fitter space. We just, took that as an opportunity to cut out a custom space inside our stores where it's private, one-on-one custom fitting. We've got Quintec, which is the best putter fitting launch monitor that you can get. We've got aftermarket shaft matrix of over 300 aftermarket shafts, where we're using Club Connect so we can plug and play, drivers into individual heads. We're not locked into a Callaway tip on a Callaway driver. We can put that same shaft in a Callaway and a TaylorMade and a Ping, and really agnostically find out what works best.
So I'm looking up here and we got the GC Hawk above us. So you spoke about the Quintec. Can we kind of speak about a little bit of the software? Like it is all the Foresight Sports software and these fitting bays. So can you kind of speak to what that would mean to you if I was coming in to do a fitting, how that software would work for me as a as, somebody coming in to look for like the best or most accurate data that I'm looking to get?
Yeah, so foresight for us really is we're always indoors, right? And foresight does a fantastic job of making the data make sense for what happens when you hit the ball indoors. There's some calculations and some algorithms that have to be put into place to make the ball do what it does. But we find really consistent data comes from using foresight. Using the GC Hawk for us, we don't have a unit on the ground, but the GC Hawk, with using the fiducials, just measures things really consistently for us. But we use the FSX Pro software, which is a little bit different from kind of the mainstream software. So the mainstream software, which you'll see in all of our stores, is a very good software, but we use the Pro software, which is kind of like the professional coach sort of software, where it gives you a few more tools to access and really show what you want to show, and then keep the data really for the fitter to find out all of the information. So pretty robust program to use, but it's really nice and easy to throw a ball down on the mat, hit some shots, really analyze as much or as little data as you want to.
Was there kind of like almost like a process that you had to go through, trial and error, to find the best possible? Because like we've learned over time, we've talked about like we've done a couple pods even at Uptown. They have the GC Hawk. Like we've talked about how the foresight programs kind of become like the gold standard in the indoor space. Was there any trial and error, or did you guys pop it in, know what you wanted? Was there any connection there?
Yeah, so I mean, if I was asked to start something up today and have to pick one unit over the other, it'd be a pretty tough decision.
Yeah.
The industry is definitely competitive in this space, but there's two gold standards for indoor launch monitors, so TrackMan is the other competitor, and I definitely have a good working relationship with the folks at TrackMan and Foresight as well. We're looking to solution what makes sense for our customers from a consistency standpoint.
Okay.
But TrackMan's doing a fantastic job for indoor ball flight. They're making some waves here with their new unit. So always having the conversations, but realistically, I came into this role and we had Foresight. I used Foresight at Golf Tech. The language is a little bit different. Okay. But from how they measure and what they measure and when, they both do things really well, but they both have some drawbacks. So it's kind of like, I'm very used to using Foresight, but that's not to say that TrackMan doesn't do a good job. They do a fantastic job of their software, and so.
And for me, it's somebody like I'm not in the Bay, as often as you guys might be, but when I go and play, and like when I'm if I'm playing on a GC Hawk, like it's just, the data's there. It's easy to read. It's like, it's so nice. So being somebody who's coming in, maybe if it's your first time fitting or whatever it is, you kind of get to see the data too. You're not just like, you want to trust the fitter. That's something we've had this conversation a lot of times. You really want to trust your fitter as much as you can. They're there to guide you and tell you as much good information as you can, and they'll let you know if something's not working. But it's nice to be able to kind of look and see just what your ball is doing and the numbers that you're getting. It's easy to read, easy to understand. So yeah, if you're looking to come in and say it doesn't necessarily be my first experience having a fitting, but if I'm coming into, Studio X for the first time, what would be my expectation?
So really the club fitting experience that is offered at a Studio X is, we have 48 stores across Canada that all offer custom fitting. They've all got fitting carts, every single store. And then the Studio X is the step above from a standpoint of options. So there's fitting carts from the vendors. Basically, you have an option A and option B, and as you get into the higher fitting carts, you get more heads, more shafts. But the layer on top of that is having access to. If we watch the PGA Tour, golf on the weekend, we're going to see some fancy paint shafts on the TV. But this provides us access to those shafts.
Yeah, they're all here.
Hey, the Ventus Velocore Fujikura shaft, the new Blue Plus, like you see them on TV. You see the red shaft on TV, or the Tiger Graphite Design VF shaft that he's using, right? This gives us the ability to then try that, compare it against something else to see if this is really providing benefits and gains. Make it is it making it better for you? Let's scratch that itch. Hit that $500 shaft, test it, and compare it against your gamer and see if there's a benefit. So, the biggest difference in Studio X is this is a closed door environment. The fitter is 100% focused on you. This is a fitting service where currently all the members of Master Club Fitters in Studio X are PGA of Canada members. So you're getting the top class environment from equipment. We've got all the tools, but the fitter is the biggest difference.
Okay.
And their experience with, as you said, you got to trust your fitter. They've gone through this, are going through hundreds of these a year, where they see how the clubs perform and are going to put the right club into your hands based on what information you're giving them. So, the Studio X experience really is, you're getting a professional fitting with the intent of providing you with the best clubs to suit your game, right? You have certain needs for your game, and I want to help you play your best golf. What can I do to help you play your best golf?
I have so many needs. We all have so many needs, and golf's like that. So we were having a chat a couple weeks ago with Luke Sear, and he's a caddy out at Cabot, and he was kind of saying the same thing. It's like you want to be able to trust your caddy. Same with your fitter. We're in this like golf space where it's sometimes hard to do that. We all remember like when we hit all of our best shots, but realistically, there's some room, and like that's what you're doing here is having that fitting experience to be able to give yourself the best opportunity to hit all of those, right?
Yeah, really there's what you're going to find, like what you should expect from any club fitting is you've got some opportunities or challenges that are presented from your current golf clubs, which I look at as like that's a problem. We've got to provide a solution to your problem. Right? So your irons, if you hit your irons and they don't go high enough or your contact isn't really solid, it's not super efficient, we're going to test that golf club, see how it performs, and then provide solutions to the problem.
Okay.
Right? We see a ton of golfers in here that don't necessarily hit the ball high enough. That's a pretty consistent trend in fitting. There's few that are on the other side of things that hit it too high.
Yeah.
Or some people that think they hit it too high that actually don't hit it high enough. But so it's perception versus reality. But people that are playing irons that don't go high enough in the air really don't provide you the ability to hit and hold greens. So like that's a huge opportunity for improvement. If you're not hitting the ball high enough to hit and hold a green, you're hitting the front and rolling off the back, right? You can't cover the water to get to, or cover the bunker to get a front pin, that sort of thing.
Right. So if you're coming in and I'm coming in to, meet with the master fitter here, what would I expect? Like if I'm doing an iron fitting, how many different clubs could I expect to hit in the hour or so that I booked?
That's a great question. So the perception of club fitting really is, we've said it a couple times, is really trusting the fitter to put the clubs in your hands that are going to provide the solutions to the problems. So if you're hitting your baseline club, you're going to put your shots on the screen. We're going to see how that's performing. You should be hitting anywhere from 3 to 5 different heads.
Okay.
Really to get started. And then from there, after you find out which one's really performing the best, you really dial in the shaft after the fact. So you kind of find the top 1 or 2 performers and then really dial it in from a different shaft combination to find the right fit. So sometimes it can get a little deeper than that, but coming in with a general idea of what you're looking for and what's possible is always good in a fitting. But coming in with I really want this golf club isn't always going to yield the best results. But we're here at the end of the day to do the best that we can for you and help you find the clubs that are a good fit for you. And really custom gives us the ability to do that. We can basically do anything, right?
Well, and I find too, like a lot of the conversations that we have, or even the conversations I have at the courses, like a lot of golfers are like brand specific. They like a brand. You fall in love with a brand, right? So it'd be the same as like wearing full wedge or whatever it is. Like you fall in love with a brand, you kind of wear their gear, whatever it might be. But I think coming to a place like this, which again, go check it out on YouTube because we have hundreds and hundreds. Do you know how many are behind us?
There's 300 aftermarket.
Okay.
And then after that, it's probably close to 8 total. We've got all the woods, drivers, fairways, hybrids are up top, and then all the irons from the vendor carts are down the bottom.
And
It's pretty wild.
Yeah, so there's just so many options, right? So you don't have to be specific to one. You're probably going to come in, and I'm sure you deal with that all the time, where a consumer is just like a client that comes in to hit a couple balls or, do their fitting, is just shocked by what they're hitting or what they thought was for them, and they're leaving with a completely different brand or whatever it may be, right? So that brings me to kind of the next idea is, when the fitting's wrapped up, what's the next experience for the client that's come in to do their fitting with the master fitter here at Studio X?
Yeah, at the end of the fit, we're going to make our recommendations for what's going to, for what we found out, right? What information, fact finding did we get? And from that fit, we're going to make a recommendation for you for how we can prescribe a solution to the problem. So we can order, if it's a set of irons, we keep talking about that. If we found a solution for the set of irons, we're going to go through on a step-by-step. This is exactly what we're prescribing. Here's what it's going to take. This set of irons is going to cost you whatever. It's going to take a couple weeks for these clubs to come in. But the biggest point of pride, here is that we're not doing our job as a club fitter unless we're providing you with the clubs that we fit you for.
Okay.
All right. So that's, sometimes when I say that, it doesn't come out right, but I think I nailed it there. So we've got some pretty substantial tools here that are, Tour Gauge Mitchell product that helps us measure the club that we're fitting you with, and then the club that we ordered for you, to make sure that they match each other. Because, fitting someone for a golf club that's supposed to be 2 degrees upright, and it comes to them and they go out and play with it, and it's not doing what it did in the bay. If we didn't measure it to make sure that it is 2 degrees upright on our standards, then we're not doing our job.
The holidays are just around the corner, and Full Wedge is partnering with 9 different golf brands for 9 holes of giveaways. Head to the show notes of this episode, follow Full Wedge Golf on Instagram, and get in on the holiday spirit with some great golf giveaways. Everything will get started on December the 9th. So when you receive them from the manufacturer, your master fitter's going to kind of go through, or a club builder's going to go through, double check them to make sure that they are what the client has ordered, and they're going to perform exactly as they were when they were in the bay here.
Yeah.
Nice.
So spec check it to make sure it is what it is. Go out and play with them afterwards. And then we've got a callback service, which makes it easy for you to come back in here and use our space. So let's gap things out. Let's make sure that your irons are matched up to your wedges appropriately. If you're looking for a hybrid to fill the gap between your driver fairway wood, that sort of thing. So callback services, come on back in. How are the clubs performing? And is there anything else that we can help you out with? Do a gapping if we need to use the lie loft to bend your long irons to get them to go a little further, or go shorter if we've got some gaps in there.
So if some of the listeners right now, Kyle, are interested, do you know the pricing for the different fitting options? Like whether it just be like there's a putter fitting, driver fitting, full bag, irons. Do you have all the pricings locked in up there?
Yeah, so our the biggest difference inside the Studio X from a pricing perspective is that the fitting is not free. So you're paying for a professional club fitter here. So the fees are for driver fitting is $100. For iron fitting is also $100. And if you order golf clubs, you're still paying for the fitter's time. So that's a big difference here, but that's what the follow-up service is for. That's what making sure your clubs are what they're supposed to be. We also offer a full bag fitting, which is $275. And then we offer a full bag fitting, including Quintec putter fitting, and that's $400. So you're talking full bag fittings are like you're here for 3 hours plus.
Yeah.
You're going through, taking a break. We've got a coffee machine over there. We've got some water and Gatorades for you to sit down in the lounge and take a bit of a break. But full bag fitting, you're going through every single club in the bag. We're doing an iron fit, wedge fit, driver, fairway hybrid, and then we pop over and do putter. So Quintec putter is also standalone putter fitting. We do $150 for a Quintec putter fitting. If you haven't seen a Quintec putter fitting, it is it's intense. The parameters, they list 45 parameters on their website, but I've heard Dr. Paul Herian mention that there's way more than 45. They have to really condense it down. The data is intense, but our fitters are trained to help you really find the putter that is the best fit for you. And really what that comes down to, in our experience, is really getting the right matchup from a toe hang perspective to your putting stroke. If you're listening to this and you've got some tendencies or if you prefer one putt over the other. So if you prefer, for me, all day long, I prefer putts that break from left to right. As a left-handed golfer, what that tells me is that I've got a tendency to start the ball a little bit more left. So I kind of push it,
Okay.
which actually helps it get a little bit more online.
Okay.
So if you're going right, if I prefer right to left, that tells me there's an opportunity in your fit for your putter to get that dialed in to help you square the face more.
I just prefer like straight putts.
Straight, flat.
Like just flat, no movement. Just hopefully start it off online and go from there. But I'm definitely like a feel putter, so I feel like going into a Quintec Bay would be just mind blowing for me. I think it's not something I've done. Maybe I should. I'm almost terrified to go into one because putting's always been the most consistent and best part of my game. But if I go in and find a gap or a hole that I need to work on, that would be hard, man.
Not like going through Quintec putter fitting is really going to identify something that you've been experiencing while you're playing golf and putting, but you have been able to you've been able to adapt to what's been happening, which is what we do in golf all the time. So if you play clubs that are too long, you're going to make some changes to your swing to help you do that, to help you hit the ball. If you play clubs that are too upright or too flat, you're then going to still make some adjustments. So putting is the exact same as that. If you have a tendency to leave the face open at impact, you're going to make some stance and swing path adjustments to counteract what's going on with the face angle. So it's a fact-finding session that will really help people play better. But we see a lot of people come in with putters that have lots of toe hang that should be playing a putter that doesn't have a lot of toe hang.
Okay.
Lab is on my mind. We talk a lot about lab in here. That's why I mentioned it by accident earlier. But with the introduction of these putters, you've been living under a rock if you haven't heard about lab putters.
Yeah. Face balance is a huge topic in putting right now, right? It's like
low torque,
Yeah.
Limit the rotation. These types of putters are really coming out, and what Quintec will do is night and day tell you that this putter is better than that putter for you.
Okay.
Right? Whether toe hang is correct or face balance works for you, or a low torque lab putter, low torque design works for you. It is like it's within significant percentages. It'll tell you that your face angle at impact is 1 degree open with your putter, and it's half of that with this lab. So you're going to make putts up to 20 feet with this putter, and you're only making putts up to 6 feet with your putter. So it's pretty, it's hard to not see that data and go, wow, this is a way better putter for me.
Yeah. And it's something that, there's so many strokes gained. It's like, you can't ignore it, right? As we wrap up the fitting, experience here at Studio X and having the conversations about it, one thing that I was checking out, when I was looking on the website. So I'm going to link the website, the Golftown website, with all the information in the show notes below. But it's the holiday season, so it's a great time for somebody to pick up a package if you have a golfer in your life and you want to come in and check it out. And you have to dress comfortably. It's nice in here. It's beautiful. Come in, wear some nice shoes, whatever it is, wear some shorts, as if you're going to the gym, right? Because you might be in here for a while swinging golf clubs, right?
Yeah, there's a reason we got some Gatorades over there in the fridge and some water, and it's you're gonna hit a lot of shots. So wearing, you can when you're hitting off of mats, whatever you do, if you're hitting off of mats, but using your current golf shoes is something that I would recommend doing to give you the consistent traction. Because it's definitely different hitting balls in running shoes versus golf
for
shoes
sure
with spikes, right?
Yeah. So if you if you typically wear a soft spike, or we've talked with lots of different shoe brands in the past, but bring your shoes, put them on, wear something comfortable, bring your regular golf shoes that you'd walk the round in, right? But I think one of the things that I'm always thinking about when I'm in simulators and stuff is you don't always think to dress appropriately, and when you're doing a fitting, it would be definitely something that you need to, right? So I don't know, I think it's a great time. If you're listening to us right now, it's a great time. Set somebody up in your life that's a golfer and have them start off the new year perfectly, with their why not come in, get a fit, and at least kind of see where you're at, right?
Exactly, yeah. I mean, booking a fitting, you can do it really easily online on our website. All of our Studio X locations and even store locations have the availability posted online.
Okay.
So you can pop in and book your appointment there. There's some things that we need to know from you before you come in to make sure that we're, ready to fit you. We find out, what hand you are, what brands that you maybe have some interest in. If you've played golf before, been fit before. Realistically, I think one of the best things about custom fitting is, to really knock down the barrier here. Custom fitting is for absolutely everyone. And I will continue to say it, that you getting fit, there's perception that you need to be a better golfer to get fit. I will always say that I have way more opportunity in a fitting with a golfer that's just getting started, to get them into the right clubs, so they don't need to adapt to clubs that don't fit them.
Yeah.
Right. You can make significant impact on golf clubs and someone's golf game by getting the right length, lie angle, get an appropriate shaft mix, and then get out there and play some golf.
So as we kind of move on through the holiday season here, like we're pretty much getting this one up middle of December, so you'll probably be listening to this one in the holiday season. In about a month from now, or 6 weeks, or whenever you listen, we got the Toronto Golf Show. So you guys are going to be at the show again. That's where we kind of first met and connected, and almost a year later, we finally been able to do this one. But how is things looking for Golftown, for Studio X at the Toronto Golf Show this year?
Yeah, so pretty excited for us. We're doing something a little different this year. We kind of came into the golf show a little bit late last year, so we really, focused on setting up the store and really getting the driving range sort of set up with our vendors. But this year for Studio X, we're actually going to be setting up a sim. So we're going to be, popping up a sim in the space. We'll run some contests, I'm assuming, when we get a little closer to it, we'll nail down what that is. But we're going to showcase what we offer inside Studio X at the Toronto Golf Show this year. So we'll have a full sim set up. I'm going to bring in the shafts, bring in some heads, bring in the putter lie loft machine, iron lie loft machine, to just give you a little bit of a peek behind the curtain to what Studio X looks like. It'd be a great idea to come and visit us at the booth. We'll have some giveaways there to come in and check us out at Studio X. But the Golftown presence in that golf show has been huge over the past couple of years. So Studio X isn't the main reason to come there. You're obviously going to be shopping around for some deals inside the Golftown store. There are going to be some phenomenal deals this year, where we really are learning from what happened at the show last year, and how things went. We're going to have some really, really good, enticing deals to get you into the show this year.
Yeah, we always like to break the news on the pod. Like, where Bryce and I are always looking to kind of break news, which we can't do here, but we can tell you it's gonna be fun to go check it out at the show. I'll definitely be going to pick up some of the things that we may or may not have talked about off camera, but you should. It'll be a good time. The golf show is amazing. Like, it's growing and growing every year. Like, each year we have got them on, and we kind of chat about it. Last year we did some social media for the show there. It was a really, really fun experience. There was like the 72-foot putt or whatever. Like, it's just a vibe. Like, you got to go check it out. But Kyle, before we let you go, can we talk about like you a little bit more? I know we started off the pod, but can we talk about like the whole like golf world for you? It's been something that, like, we're around the same age. It's been something that you've been doing for the half your life now, believe it or not. You've been working in the space. So it's I always kind of remind myself of that, like in my career outside of like the podcast. I'm kind of like halfway through my working life, and it's something that you've been doing for a while. Is there like a point in this space that in the golf world or working in the golf industry that you enjoy the most yourself?
I'm reminded of this. I'm in a bit of a different lane now from before. So when I was in full-time coaching mode, really being the person that gets to experience the golfer that you're working with get better and play their best golf, or have a hole-in-one or a career, that sort of thing. You can't replace that. Yeah. Right. And being a part of their journey is something that is irreplaceable. You can't recreate that feel. So here now, for me, it's now shifted gears to doing that with our fitters. So really helping our fitters, across Canada, learn how to fit golf clubs, and just providing a little bit of help along the way. So those. You can't recreate that. I think for me, that is that to me is kind of like my giving back. Okay. Right? So I'm fortunate enough to now be as a PGA of Canada Class A member. I played in 2010, and now I'm actually employed by the PGA to conduct new coach training. Okay. So being a PGA member, there is in all provinces There's facilitation of coach of instructor, the instructor beginner series, and that's not my job. So I get to deal with all PGA of Canada in Ontario, both East End, West End, facilitations to bring in, seminars of 30 PGA members, and I get to facilitate training there. That's my kind of give back to golf is working with coaches and help their players play best now. So now it's really like manifested into more, as opposed to helping one-on-one. Now I'm helping more people help people play. So
That's a true leader's answer, man. That's a really I like that one a lot. Like we'll clip that. Like there'll be a clip of that one for sure. But like I always like when people respond with the idea of, and we hear it every single week. There's been 200 plus different conversations, and people in the golf space are so great, and like they're just wanting to connect and build up other people in the space, and it's really cool. And hearing that, that's refreshing. Let me ask you, what's one of your most challenging parts of working in the golf industry?
I think that's okay. Let me think about it for a second. The most challenging parts is probably finding time to play. That to me is committed to working and my job and doing my thing, and there's only so much time now to play golf, and I think that's probably one of the things. I still commit to playing at least once a week.
Yeah, that's not the first time we've heard that answer for sure. It's one of those things where everyone says the more you get into the golf space, the less you play.
It's you know what, I've still, like, there are definitely some people that like shut it down and like don't play at all, and that to me is, that takes a bit of the like drive or passion or love for the game out of it. Is when you're working all day in that space, you are at the golf course all the time, and then so that's kind of why I've separated the golf course from where I work. So now that I have my space to go to and play my 4-hour round, and be able to focus, and that's my that's your space, right? Like you get out, play golf. I don't care who I play with. I'll book in as a single and play golf with anybody and have some great conversations. And so, I would say that is, to me, we're always going to want more time to play golf, but making the most out of that time that you're out there, that's it. For me, you don't get enough opportunity to play golf. So I don't know if that's a great answer, but.
Well, it's that or travel during COVID, during the pandemic. Traveling would have been tough because I know you were kind of rolling things out. So luckily that's behind us, and now we're into the real in-person pods, the real in-person studio fittings. And so as we kind of like move into 2025, we're just kind of wrapping up the 24 golf season here. What are some of the things that we can expect with Golftown Studio X to kind of roll out for the next year?
Yeah, so Golftown's been, as we're in the Woodbridge store here, which is a full renovation store. So you're going to start to see more of this happen for us. So we've got, you can see some of the older stores that have been around since 1999, since when we opened. So reinvesting into the brand. So you're seeing some of these studios continue to pop up. We're doing store renovations. And really investing, back into the business, right? It's so being able to do this is just part of, like, Golftown is the home of golf in Canada. We used to say that we wanted to be the home of golf in Canada. Golftown is the home of golf in Canada. We are coast to coast, and we're doing a fantastic job for golf and providing access to anything that you need. We can get it. The answer for anything, if you're looking for something, we can get it for you. If we don't have it in store, we can definitely figure out a way to make something happen. So, what's on the horizon for 2025 is more of what you're seeing here. So more stores are getting some facelifts and some redesigns, and there'll be some more Studio X. So we've got 6 Studio X open right now. We've got 4 in Ontario, and then 1 in Alberta, 1 in BC. And we're going to continue that rollout. So we've got a few on the slate. Can't quite say just yet, but we've got a few written in pencil, almost pen, to get those things dialed for next year. But we got a few locations that are going to see some Studio X next year, and then the year after that, and then the year after that. We're going to keep going here. Love that.
I tried. We got close. But Kyle, I would, as a lefty Canadian golfer as well. You're a lefty, you said?
You got it.
So I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you, like, what was it like to fit Mike Weir? Before we let you go, what was it like to fit Mike Weir?
Yeah, I still pinch myself a little bit from that that opportunity, it really just, he was just the nicest guy.
He just seems like the coolest guy, man. So we were at the Canadian Open this year doing a little media there, and like he was just down on the bottom part. So at Hamilton, like they had the top range. If you were kind of watching any content there, where everybody was, he was down on the sub range. I just went down there and I just like sat on the hill and watched him hit balls for like almost an hour. And I just like took it in, and he's just like, just seems like the nicest guy. Just says, "What's up? Like, how are you doing?" Like,
Yeah, so we were at a conference, and it was introduced that we had this opportunity, and I really didn't realize that, like, you know, we mentioned that this was going to be happening with Mike, and then I kind of like was like, well, that's me. Right?
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, oh wait. So yeah, fitting him really and spending just any time with him was to me just like, if you think he's a nice guy just from seeing him on TV and stuff, you can't, sometimes you don't get to see their personality and experience them, but he was the nicest guy, welcomed us in. We got to spend time, with him and have a coffee with him and just sort of sit down and, hit some shots. But he is impressive as a ball striker and as an athlete. Like he's very efficient with his move, and fine-tuning things and getting to tweak his golf clubs really that's a relationship that we continue to have to work on. We're always looking to play better, even at his level. He's looking to say he wants to hit the ball higher. He wants to hit, a little bit more shot shape or less shot shape. And they're very fine-tuning details, but working on, he's a bit of a tinker, and I think that's known. Being a lefty, seeing the clubs that he has. But I love that opportunity to be able to get into the weeds with him and say, okay, try this one out. See what happens here.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens with the ball flight. It really, custom and fitting, like the tough part of this is the shafts that are designed to make the ball go higher don't necessarily do that with how you deliver the club to the ball. That's what's different. So you basically have to test everything to see how it works.
Right.
So that's really what we're doing, is just testing some different shafts. We get the 3 different shafts. One goes supposed to go high, one goes medium, and one's supposed to go low. Hit them, look at the data, see which one was, perform the best. So it's really just like, you think that it's like, this is going to be the one for you, but like getting to spend that time with someone that's that good of a ball striker really just shows you, how important a role club fitting plays.
Yeah.
In just playing the game, and for me, it was nerve-wracking knowing that I'm putting clubs in play, or I'm putting clubs in the bag of a guy that's going to be playing the Masters in a few weeks. And hopefully I don't mess this up. That's really where I was at. Just being honest, I was nervous to do it, but, a fantastic opportunity.
Good nerves, man. What a good experience, too. Like the couple experiences that I've had with him, I remember I just made a hole-in-one. I saw him at an event at Golftown, and I had like another sleeve of like the ball that I hit, and he had asked me about it. He was like, I said, I actually just like made a hole-in-one. He was like, not with this ball, right? He's like, I don't want to sign this if it was with this ball. And I was like, no, that's in the case, but it was with this ball. And I could tell like he's a tinkerer, because he's like, oh, like, have you played like the soft version of this or whatever it was, right? So, and I said, yeah, and like I just kind of like found this one. He's like, is it like clicky? He was like, kind of asked me a few questions about it. Just took a few minutes to kind of ask me about the specific ball. And he's like, I got to reach out and try a couple of these, because I've heard like really good things. And so it's just kind of cool. And then I saw him like on the range at Hamilton doing some band work. And it just seems like there's always just, he's always just working on something. He's got the waggle, so it's just, I had to ask you about that, because it's, it's a dream. One day we'll have Mike on the pod too, I'm sure. So I would love that. So, and I'll be sitting here nervous, shaking and stuff like that when that day comes. But Kyle, man, really appreciate this. Really appreciate, us inviting us into the studio here. What a beautiful spot. If you're in the Woodbridge area, or, there's golf towns all over. There's 48 locations in Canada. So definitely go check them out. It's a holiday season. Even go for a walk, check it out, see if there's anything that you want to maybe buy for a loved one, or buy for yourself to put under the tree, whatever it might be. But Kyle, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate this.
Appreciate the time, man. Yeah.
Awesome.
Great to be on here.
Sweet.
He's out in my ball and of course when I tee up, I lose the ball and I re-up. I miss a fairway, I probably end up in the ocean or maybe the beach. And I'm on a par 5 and I'm finna go reach it. Second was blind, I ain't see it. Feel like it might be an albatross, worst case scenario.